At South Louisiana Bank, we're great at banking, but we're great at a lot of other stuff too.
Is that a new rod and reel?
Hey, a girl's got a fish.
We care about the community we live in and the people we serve. We're not just like you. We are you.
Are you boiling crawfish?
No, just letting them soak.
We're proud to be here and work for the place and the people we love. South Louisiana Bank. It's in the name.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Facebook YouTube coverage. And we look back at the year 2024. And finally, a look at December 2024. All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. We have with us the superintendent of Lafourche Parish, Mr. Jared Martin. We're going to talk today about an incident involving some mold, and the superintendent is always vigilant and transparent when he comes on here. So let's ask him about some of the schools that were affected today, and what's the mold concern that's going around, and I'll give you the floor and let you explain it.
Yes, sir. So going back for a few weeks, we had some visible mold appear on a classroom floor at Cutoff Elementary School. And our protocol is to clean it, to try to find the water source and then see what happens. And in this particular case, it was cleaned and then it came back. And when it came back, it struck the maintenance department as odd and the principal as odd. And so we did some testing of it. And upon, there's some pictures of it there. And upon testing, the air quality never tested poorly. But we realized that there could be a moisture issue behind that wall to cause it to happen. And so we're going to do a little destructive testing. So we're going to peel the wall back, and that's when we send a letter home to some parents explaining we're going to move the kids out of the classroom to put them into another classroom so we can pull that wall back. And what we were able to find is that the air conditioning system, which happens to be 44 years old, was condensating to the point that it had some water behind those walls, and that water behind those walls caused some significant mold growth. And so that led to more testing, which actually then finally resulted in some air quality samples that were not good. And so we had to completely mitigate the entire campus of Cutoff Elementary School, and that happened over the Thanksgiving holidays. We will be announcing this afternoon that Cutoff Elementary School has been completely remediated and will be open Tuesday. That call is going to go out to parents this afternoon, but we wanted to actually see the test results and make sure that the entire campus was completely remediated before we did that.
So when mold's a funny deal. I mean, you could kind of heard so many mold stories. They all seem to be different. Do you ever really know what you're dealing with mold until you get it tested, or do they have anybody that can look at it and go, yeah, okay, that's specific species, whatever? Do they have experts that can look and identify it right away, or do you really have to send them all off to get them tested?
So the EPA and the CDC are pretty clear on this. Air sampling should be done. And they actually, believe it or not, don't recommend surface sampling because whenever you see mold, you can assume it's bad. There is no mold that is considered okay. And so what you have to do is hire a mold mitigation company that is certified in using the antimicrobial agents to get rid of the mold. And then more importantly, you've got to remove the water source that allowed the mold to exist in the first place. And in all instances of this particular school, it was all a result of the air conditioning system. These air conditioners run on chill water lines, and those chill water lines have to be properly insulated, or those cold water lines get exposed to the hot air and they condensate. As soon as they condensate, the water will drip on, as an example, a drop ceiling like that. And then when you've got a paper ceiling tile that is wet in South Louisiana, it is a perfect recipe for the growth of mold.
Yeah, on the HVAC systems, we know they're so massive in these schools. Is there a maintenance kind of program that you sort of go through with your superintendents that are in charge of that particular thing? And what's the process on that? Maybe you could bring us up to speed.
Yeah, in fact, we've got a robust maintenance department. I think that we've got around 6 or 7 HVAC techs on staff, but we also partner with a number of folks that help guide us through this process. In this particular campus, we've already got the help of a mechanical engineer to design an entirely new air conditioning system and to shore up and repair all these chill water lines that are causing this sweating in the first place.
All right, so that's, once again, how do you, because if you look on Facebook or YouTube or anything, when you get a moldy situation, you could have everything, comments ranging all over the place. How do you, as a superintendent, keep them those, you want to be responsible as a superintendent, but how do you keep them factual and people with the facts? Because, boy, the stories could blow up all over the place, and next thing you know, everybody's taking a different angle on this. So how do you keep that in line?
Well, what we've done is we've taken all of the reports that we've gotten from our mold mitigation companies. We've made them available on our website. So on our website, you can go to the land and facilities page, you can click on each school. And so whenever we conduct any mold sampling, those reports will be publicly available on our website so that people can see the actual results of those tests. What I did not know and what I'm learning through this process is that mold is a sort of an ever-present thing. All of our buildings have, to some degree, mold spores present. The question is the air quality such that there are more mold spores in the indoor air than the outdoor air? That's how this stuff is measured. And so we want to keep those humidity levels down. We want to remove the water source and the food source, and that way we can maintain as mold-free of an environment as possible.
Just real quick, we have about 50 seconds left. Any sickness from this as you know of, or what's the latest on the health of the students?
Yes, so there have been some parents that have linked some student illnesses to the building, but I don't know how you can definitively connect those two. But I can tell you it's something that we're not going to sit on our hands and wait until students become more sick. We're going to take every precaution to make sure that these schools don't have anything that could lead to student illnesses. We're committed to properly remediating and mitigating any mold that shows up on our campuses.
And on Saturday, Nicholls State University unveiled a bust of Dr. Cleveland Hill at Stouffer Gymnasium for his many years at Nicholls. Before the unveiling, family and friends gathered to share their experiences with Dr. Hill. Here are a few excerpts from the event.
But we are here today to for this tribute unveiling of a bust that he has. It was, I don't know, how often was it, Mr. Tom? It was like every week, every 2 weeks? Pretty much. Yes. He was going for a sitting. And so we are looking forward to seeing the final product and the unveiling of this bust that will be here into perpetuity. I'm really grateful, not just for him being honored and recognized, but I'm grateful that he's here to bear witness to it. Because a lot of times people are honored posthumously, right? And they don't get to see and enjoy in the fellowship with the people who are important to them and made significant contributions in the journey, because no one does these things alone, and everyone in here has been along for the journey of his life and his experiences here at Nicholls, which make this day possible.
The relationship that my father and Coach Landry have built over the years may have started as one of coach to student, but it has certainly grown into what I believe is the real definition of family. It goes beyond bloodline, it goes beyond what we look like on the outside, but it's really about how we treat and feel about each other. And
thank you for inviting me to be one of the speakers today. It's an honor. I'm going to spend all of my time speaking by Cleve as a player and as a coach. I'll let other people speak about other phases of his life. In 1970, we were given permission to integrate the Nicholls State basketball program. For various reasons, we limited our search for black players to Louisiana and Mississippi. Tiger LeBlanc, who was my assistant coach at the time, traveled all over these two states, and I credit him for finding Cleveland. My coach at Magnolia High School, Ira Polk, told me that it was time for this to be done. Integration has taken place on college campuses, and so, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Cleveland Hill enrolled at Nicholls State in 1971. In the next 4 years, he became the most honored basketball player in Nicholls history.
After his remarkable athletic career, Dr. Hill dedicated his life to education, shaping minds and inspiring generations. Rising to the position of Dean at Nicholls State University as a first, he became not only a leader, but a symbol of progress and possibility. His presence in that role demonstrated to countless students, especially those who might have felt overlooked or undervalued, that excellence knows no bounds of race or background. Today, as we unveil this bust in his honor, we do more than celebrate his achievements. We celebrate the values he embodied: perseverance, equity, and commitment to lifting others as he climbed. This bust will stand as a permanent reminder to every student, student athlete, educator, and community member that walks in Stouffer Gymnasium that greatness is achieved not by conforming to expectations, but by defying them. Dr. Hill's legacy challenges all of us to be fearless in the face of adversity, to recognize our ability to make an impact, and to leave every place better than we found it.
Why am I being recognized? And Tom said something that has stayed with me all this time. He said, "This honor is for you, but it's not about you." Let me repeat that. This honor is for you, but it's not about you. And then he went on to say, this is for the generations that will come after you. This is for the generations that will come, even though I don't like to think about it, long after you have departed. From those words by Tom, I have developed an imagination and a hope. First, my imaginations. I imagine that henceforth, prospective students will come to this university on campus tours. I imagine that on those tours, they may see the bust. I imagine that some brave, inquisitive student or students will inquire, who is this dude? I imagine that the tour guide will inform the student or students about my years as a student athlete. I imagine that the tour guide will inform them of my years as a men's and women's basketball coach. I imagine that the guide will mention my years as a faculty member. I imagine that my years as a director, dean of education, and interim dean of student life will be talked about. I imagine that my 20-year military career will be a point of emphasis. More importantly, I imagine that the tour guide will mention that while working full-time, serving in the Army Reserves, I pursued and achieved a doctorate degree. So those are my imaginations. And here's my hope. That one or more future college students will say, you know, I can do all of that. And another one will say, oh, I can do that and even more. That is my hope. When my imagination and my hope becomes a reality, then this bus will have indeed served this purpose. So on behalf of my family, myself, I accept this tremendous honor and thank all of you once again for being here.
And God bless Cleveland for putting up with me for a whole year. The poor man wanted to jump out of his seat. But I said, no, Cleveland, when I finished. We've got at least 6 more months. Anyway, thank you all for allowing me to do this. This is the most wonderful thing. This is the best part about being a sculptor. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Just pull. That's what he said, just pull the ribbon.
Just pull it down.
I kept asking myself, why me? And this guy helped me, well, he put things in a new perspective for me. It's not about me. It's for me, but it's not about me. For generations to come. And so if generations of future students come by here and it means something to them to come to this university, then that would be the greatest benefit.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights.
On the program, and tonight we have a guest who's just got the greatest story. And for those of you who follow Bayou Time a lot, will recall, I think back in September, they had Chip Otam, who is our guest tonight, on the program. And this is Chip sitting with me right now. Let me tell you real quickly what this gentleman just did. He just ran 432 miles. This is him 1 week ago today, early in the morning, 1 week ago today, him completing his 432-mile run in Grand Isle. He started way up in Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas border, basically, and ran all the way down the state. And he's about to tell us his story, and this is the triumphant conclusion. I think I'd be tired, too, in kneeling down, Chip, as I see you doing right now. But, Chip, first of all, it is great to have you with us. Chip and I have something in common. We're both proud HL Bourgeois graduates. We were a number of years apart. Chip is a Houma native. You broke a record, and we'll get more into the record aspect of it and the athletic achievement aspect of it a little bit later in the segment. But let's start from the very beginning. You, young man in our area, your dad, fancies the idea that you're going to be an athlete. So for him to speed things up for you a little bit, literally, to speed things up for you, he kind of gets you into running. But take us through that story real quick on how that happened.
Absolutely. So first, I just want to say, Lonnie, thank y'all for having me back on to talk about the FKT and the run across Louisiana. To get back to that. So basically, what happened was I played sports throughout my youth, and my dad was an integral part. He coached me through a lot of my sports. But when I got into high school, I made the high school soccer team, and basically my sophomore year, when I was second string, third string, and so when they would put me in, I could maybe run 5 minutes on the field, and I was maybe 10 minutes at the most, if that, and I was screaming for my coach to pull me out. So my dad recognized that, and the summer going into my junior year, my dad went to the cross country coach and during a booster meeting and promised him that I would join cross country, and then came into the house and told me what he had done. I wasn't thrilled about it because I absolutely had no desire to be a runner, and just the thought of running 3 miles for cross country was something I definitely did not want to do. We went back and forth, and we had our words together about it. But my dad was the type of guy. He was like, you're in my house, and I made a promise, and so this is what you're gonna do. And so I went into it, kicking and screaming. I hated every moment of it. I gave as little effort as I could that year, and my junior year rolled around though, and one of the starters had got taken off the team, and I was put into his position as a starter, and I could run the entire game. Mm-hmm. And it was during that I realized, wow, everything I did during the cross country season mm-hmm. was benefiting me in soccer. So I went back into it my senior year, and I took it a little more serious and started actually putting in some work, and ended up making state as an alternate that year. So
wow.
Yeah.
Now, in the 3 minutes that we have mm-hmm. before we go to our next commercial break, is the fact that we're about to summarize in the next 3 minutes what happened in the next few years of your life that led to the great achievement and the record that we're about to talk about. But the next few years of your life after high school were not good.
No.
And if there is some God-given way that providentially he could come down right now and help us be able to, for you in that short amount of time, to tell people the hard times you fell on and then what led your way out. Why don't you take us through that difficult period?
So I mean, it actually started kind of in high school. You know, when I was a senior, I had turned 18, so I could legally go out and I could go to clubs and bars, and then that's when I first started trying drugs, and it started off as a weekend kind of warrior type deal, where I was just doing on the weekends here and there, then as the years progressed throughout my 20s, it just became more and more, you know, and then I was introduced to meth. I don't remember the year it was, but I had always been kind of against it, but I was in a car coming back from a rave in New Orleans, and some people had it, and it was presented to me, and I decided to give it a try, and that was it. I loved it, and then it just escalated worse from there. And then my late 20s, early 30s, I just became a full-blown addict. I was in the music industry, and I was trying to build a business in there. And I felt in order to have an edge on my competition, the later I could stay awake and make deals later at night, the better edge I had. So I used meth as a tool to be able to allow me to make that happen. And then it just escalated into a full-blown addiction.
That is this. For someone, even me, knowing your story, but hearing it out of your mouth for the first time is just, as people I know who are watching this right now, you just hear what you just heard. And then amazingly enough, because God is who God is and gives people second chances, your second chance is what we're going to talk about in the next segment after the break. The story is absolutely remarkable of the record that you just did. I can't even begin to even comprehend the training, the effort, you know, physically, mentally, spiritually, everything that you had to go through. I mean, it's just incredible. So again, you see him running. This is the 432-mile journey that Chip was just on. So right when we come back from the break, right off the bat, we're going to talk about what led him to do that, what you just saw in what, 6 days?
6 days, 6 days, 22 hours, and 23 minutes.
Absolutely unbelievable. There's something very traditional in America, about as American as you get, is the Rose Bowl parade. And we've got something, Explorer Houma has something very, very exciting to announce. So for people who have not heard it yet, the floor is yours.
Yes, so we are so excited to announce that Explore Houma for the first time ever is going to be in the Rose Parade this year. So we are partnering with the Louisiana Office of Tourism. Every year for the past 4 years, I believe, they've had a Louisiana-themed float in the parade on New Year's Day. So we decided this was the first year to kind of step up and participate. So we're so excited to be joining the state.
And we know the Rose Parade is, you know, in fact, we're looking at the float for people who have an opportunity. That is what the float is going to look like on New Year's Day. You know, that parade, I've got to assume not only does it take them a whole year to pull it together, they're probably working now on the parade 2 years from now. But the point is, it takes a long time for them to pull it together, or for you as one of the organizations participating with the state of Louisiana to put. So how far back does this go that Explore Houma gets involved in ultimately making this decision?
So we made this decision around mid-year. Now, I know the state hires like the Cirque du Soleil crew to come in and build and to work with the performers, but we are actually going up a few days early, and we're going to take part in decorating the float. So that's really exciting. So I know there's over 100,000 flowers between carnations and roses and, you know, whatever other kind of flower and seeds and beans that goes onto this float. And so it's going to be really cool that we get to take part in decorating what you're going to see come down the street the day of.
Yeah. Now, ultimately, when you make your decision, you said it was about mid-year, kind of was there a main one or two factors that really swayed y'all to decide this? Was it the theme, the look of the float? What kind of ultimately made y'all say, okay, we got to do this?
Well, Billy Nungesser's entire team does such a great job of organizing this event, and it's broadcasted to millions of people. And so it was really a no-brainer for us to participate this year. The theme of the parade itself is Best Day Ever, and then the float, the Louisiana-themed float, is Louisiana Saturday Night. And we were like, we have to represent what a Louisiana Saturday night in Houma looks like. And so, like I said, it was a no-brainer. We wanted to put our little slice of Bayou country on the map, and this was just a really great way to do it.
And again, like you said, we're kind of used these last few years where there's been a Louisiana float. And I think people get very, very excited. I've been impressed. I've got to tell those few seconds that you see it come across during the network broadcast of the parade, you're like, wow, they kind of captured. That's cool. There's an alligator. There's a swamp scene. There's whatever, you know. So ultimately, I think, in fact, as y'all are making y'all decision, had y'all seen, I guess, the rendering of maybe what we just saw, maybe what the float is? You already knew kind of what it was going to look like?
Yes, we knew what the concept was, and that's what made us even more intrigued to join this year because, like I said, Louisiana Saturday Night, that's something that the entire state knows about. It's not just Baton Rouge, it's something the entire state can come together to represent. And it was something that when we found out what the theme was, what the concept was, we knew instantly who we wanted to bring.
I was about to ask you, the who.
Yes.
And somebody from Houma, Terrebonne has got to be on that float. If you're participating or sponsoring in a sense, how and who was that the decision was made?
Yeah, so once like I said, we heard the concept and the theme, we knew the best person to represent our Louisiana Saturday Night in Houma was Waylon Thibodeau. So there are, I want to say, between 8 to 10 riders from around the state that are going to represent different cultures and the regions Louisiana Saturday Night. So we have LSU football player is going to be representing Baton Rouge.
Eddie Kinnison.
Yes, we have musicians, we have chefs. And so Waylon Thibodeau, being the incredible musician that represents our Cajun, our Zydeco music, it really was he was our top choice.
And of course, you got to assume there's Waylon. We just saw the last picture of everyone who's going to be on there from the state. And he will be, quote unquote, performing. You've got to assume. I guess you could sit up there the entire length of the parade pretending like you're feeling or whatever.
So he's not performing on the float.
Like
so
live.
Yes,
right.
So we do have an entertainer. In the past, there's been Lane Hardy, Lainey Wilson, John Baptiste. This year we have I'm blanking on his name, but he's Tim McGraw's nephew.
Right.
So he's going to be up there.
Timothy Wayne.
Yes.
Timothy
I'm so sorry.
Wayne.
Timothy Wayne. He's going to be performing, and Waylon's going to be just kind of greeting the crowd, waving. But he will be performing at the Float Fest following the parade, which is a huge opportunity for him. So we're really excited for him.
It really, Waylon, you and I were having a conversation off camera before we started. I mean, Waylon and I go way back, and people have asked, are we related? Yeah, we kind of are distantly related. Our names are spelled the same way, the right way. And and he and I go way, way back. And Waylon, in my opinion, as I told you, I think is certainly on the Mount Rushmore. If anybody wanted to do a Mount Rushmore of musical talent from the Bayou, certainly specifically from our area, Waylon's got to be on it.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time Sports. I'm Martin Falls, and we're going to bring on the head coach of Nicholls State University, who just recently announced that he would not be returning at the helm for Nicholls State University, and that's Coach Tim Rebo. And let's bring Coach Rebo on. Coach, always great to see you. I got to be honest. I guess I was surprised and not surprised all at the same time because you put in so many good years and the way things have changed in college football. I was thinking to myself last night, my God, how do they keep up with everything? It is really just an amount of work that is unbelievable. But first of all, thank you for your years at Nicholls State. You've put in some great years. You've had some great accomplishments. You've had some conference championships along the way, some playoff appearances along the way. You've had much success. So thank you very much. We appreciate you being here.
Good, Martin. Thanks for having me, man. It's been quite a run. 38 years in this business. 10 years for the second stint at Nichols as the head coach. It was a good run. There's a lot of good people, a lot of hard work, and it was fun. But, you know, you get into this business, you never know when it's going to end. You never know when it's going to be a calling to maybe get out, go do something else. But I just thought it was time. It was time for some new blood. The landscape of college athletics has changed tremendously the last couple of years, and we were just ready.
Yeah, and you've had a lot of success. You had that FBS win, and that really infused the program. You've had a lot of firsts over there, and I think you made it easy for players. And I'm not saying it was an easy process, but you made it easy for them to understand, hey, we can win a conference championship at Nichols State University. You sort of changed the moxie of the players. You changed the attitude of the players. I know that does not come easy. It comes with a lot of work. But first of all, what was that success based off of? What kind of system or formula did you bring with you from the past, or was it something that evolved along the way?
Well, I think as always, we talk as coaches, you always borrow things from everywhere that you've been, and you learn how to do certain things and how not to do certain things. And we came in here in 2015 with a plan, with a vision that we thought we could have some success with, and hard work and doing it with good people and staying positive. And that's what happened. And then all of a sudden, you get the right people in, you put them in the right places. I try not to micromanage the coaches. I owe so much to the early coaches on the staff that came with us and laid the foundation along with the players and laid the groundwork. And we started having some success, and some guys had bought in to see that you can have some success here in Thibodaux, Louisiana. And that was part of the plan, Martin, from going way back when I was here the first time is, hey, you can do it. You can do it the right way. You can do it with a lot of local players, and you can win at this level.
You know, 18, 19, and 23, you had championships. But I think the thing that struck me the most about you, and I think a lot of people would agree, is you weren't one of those coaches that just said, all right, I'm the big coach here. I'm going to do things this way. You were just one of the guys. I mean, I think most reporters would say the same thing when they went sit down with you. You were just always so open and transparent and maybe real. Real's the word I'm looking for. And I think that's something that you kept pretty real throughout your career at Nichols State University. I don't think you changed much.
Well, I think it goes back to it's a people business, and that's how you got to operate. And I think in any type of business, that's how it should be. And we were true to who we were. And I thought, you know, getting the first-time head coaching job, I was always taught and told, you got to be yourself. You can't be somebody, try to be this coach or try to be that coach. You just have to be yourself. And that's what we've done. But the people also, Martin, have been so good to the area, not just in Thibodaux, the whole community, the whole region. They just opened their arms up to us and accepted all the coaches, all the players. The support was overwhelming, and that made the job a lot easier also.
When we talk about Nichols State, and you alluded to the fact, and so did I, that you taught people how to win, or that they could win at Nichols State. And we all know that being in a smaller community with a college has its ups and its downs. But y'all found a way. And I say this because it took a couple of athletic directors. It took a couple of presidents along the way. I won't give anybody the blame or the credit along the way, but y'all found a way to make it sort of cool to come to Nichols State. And you were able to get athletes that could have played at a lot of other schools, but I don't know what's it like for Tim Rebo to be on a recruiting mission, but you must have a hell of a pitch because you got some great athletes over the years and you sold them on Nichols and it paid off, but you also developed a lot of players that maybe people had given up on and you brought them to another level.
I think that was the big key. As an early staff, we got in here and said, again, I alluded to about recruiting local high school players. We had a good reputation with all the high school coaches. We found the right guys that were a good fit. And our coaches did develop them. I do remember this too, Martin, going in the early days, with the Nichols logo on your shirt. Was not too receptive. That was not a lot of the guys' first choices and where they wanted to go. And proud to say after a couple of years, we turned that around. And, we joke about the stores would start having merchandise of Nichols and Nichols football that they were selling. And it made us feel good. And now a measure of respect when you walked into the schools and you walked into those places because of what some of the success we had early and the results that they saw on TV. It was cool. As you say, it was cool to have Nichols logo and nickel gear and come play for the Colonels.
Coach, I've got to ask this question because I'm thinking, last night after someone told me this was going to go down, I'm thinking to myself, how does a guy like Tim Rebo, and I know your energy, and I know your commitment to recruiting, and I know once you get players in, that you really want to keep them and develop them and make them part of the family. But with the NIL today, it seems like people are trading left and right, and they're moving around, and the identities are changing so fluidly. That's got to drive a guy like you plumb crazy.
I think obviously the landscape has changed so much in college football and college athletics, and having to put a roster together and constantly recruit your own players that's on your team has gotten very, very difficult. We used to have a lot of pride in going to the school and going down the bayou and going in the river parishes and going to Baton Rouge and find that diamond in the rough and find that guy that they said couldn't play. And then all of a sudden you got him on your team, you develop him, he becomes a star. And now all of a sudden he has a little success and people are taking him off your roster. Now, that's not just at Nichols. That's happening everywhere. And it has changed the game. It's become very, very difficult. So, that's one of the things you better be able to accept it. You got to be able to do it. I think in the next couple of years, and more, I don't think it's just with NIL. It's the transfer portal. It's guys that can leave at any minute and go to another school and not have a consequence. It's kind of taken away, I think, a little bit of guys having to fight through some adversity and some tough times when things don't go your way to put up a little bit of a fight and get your way through it. And I think we've lost some of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. The NIL deals with their image. They sort of market themselves to be the man, the myth, the legend. But you're right, that transfer portal, it did Nick Saban in. I mean, he's been very vocal about it. And does it not allow you as a coach, you really got to watch how you coach your players, because if you coach them too hard, boom, they might put themselves on the transfer portal. But some people love discipline. Some players don't like it. So I guess you're walking on eggshells, right?
Well, I don't think totally, and I think you still got to be able to coach, and you still have players who want to be coached hard, who want to do the right things on and off the field, and I think what happens, and I've said this a couple times, if you just talk in general numbers, the majority of your team wants all of the things that you talk about. Sometimes it's a select few. But that's the voice that gets heard the loudest is some of those ones. So we don't have a ton of them that are transfer. We don't have a ton of them that want NIL money. We don't have a ton of them that don't want to be coached hard. But those are the ones that seem to be put in the spotlight. The majority of the guys, want to be at Nichols because this is where they want to be. So sometimes they get a little bum rap for that. But there's a little bit of truth to it also.
Yeah. Your successor, of course, you know very well, and you've seen him come up the ranks with you. And I know you're happy that there's going to be somebody who's put in the time with you that's going to get a shot.
I think across the board that every coach has a guy on his staff that's his right-hand man, so to speak, his right hand that does everything. And that's Tommy Ryback. And he's been here from the beginning for 10 years. There's also a couple other coaches on the staff that were here also, but maybe don't fit the mold as to be the next head coach or to have the qualities that it takes to do that. Besides being loyal, which is, one of the big traits we talk about in this business, he was the right guy for the job. He's the right fit for the job that we talked about. He's so smart. He's so well-rounded. He's a pleasure. He relates to the players. I think it was a perfect hire instead of going outside of the structure of what we had here. And sometimes you have to go outside the structure. I'm not saying that's always a bad thing, but not when you got a guy right here in your backyard who knows the issues here in Thibodaux, who knows the issues of this program, of FCS. He knows everything. So I think he's going to be the right guy for it.
Yeah, I can understand if your program was just terrible and didn't do well. Yeah, you go outside, but y'all have had some great success, and y'all brought Nichols to a lot of different heights throughout the years. So if it ain't broke the system, then why fix it? I guess that's sort of the thing, right?
Yeah, and I think I go back and my main thing is I want to help Tommy with some things that I could help him with, but I also want to get out of his way and let him do. And I remember when I took over for a very successful coach at one time and became the head coach, you still want to implement, you still want to keep the things that help you be successful, but you also want to implement some of your own things. You want to, put your own stamp on it, so to speak. And I think Tommy's a smart enough guy that he knows, hey, they talked about the good stuff that we did. He wants to continue, and stuff that he didn't like, that didn't work. He's going to be ready to make a change and put it in the right direction.
Coach, just if we had to pick a handful of things, your most memorable moments as the head coach at Nicholls State University, what would be on the top of your list?
I'm going to have to go way back 10 years ago to that first victory. We were so close, Martin. There was a long losing streak the year before we got here. We lost the first 5 games, and I thought we had a chance to win like 2 of those games. We were so close. We let it slip away. So when we came home and we got our first victory here against Houston Christian, against all the work and all the hard work, and to seeing the looks on those guys' faces that, hey, we can do it, it is going to work, that's got to be right up on top of the list.
Yeah, and I know you beat a high-powered Kansas team, but I can recall, even in a loss, that Georgia game, y'all were oh so close, but didn't that really show people right there that, hey, we can play?
Yeah, I think it did. And I think it put us on the map. And, we've had a lot of people tell us, you talk about advertisement and how you buy advertisement and how you put your brand out there. And I think it has been said, and we talk about it for that 3 hours on Saturday, what we did in Georgia Stadium, kind of put Nicholls back on the map and made so many people proud, that, alumni and people across, you're getting calls for the things that you've done, and that, hey, you're doing things the right way. And, Kirby Smart, we were talking about that the other day. We talked after the game, and just the respect that he had for us. That's got to be up there when you go into those big stadiums and you can play on that stage at that level.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What are you going to do? Have you made a plan? Obviously, a lot of thought went into this, but the other part of the obviously is you must have some kind of plan of what you want to do with the rest of your life.
Yeah, one of the things that in this business, I guess sometimes you don't get to go out on your own terms. And I think that's one of the things that's kind of intriguing about this is I'm still young enough, still healthy enough, and still to go out and see. Some people say, Martin, there is life after football. I think I'm fixing to find that out. Some of the things, you still having some friends are calling you and say, hey, man, you're going to be bored to death. What are you going to do? Well, I want to try that a little bit. We haven't had a fall off in 38 years. Maybe see what it's going to be like the next couple months. I know this. I am going to enjoy time with the family. My daughter just had our second grandchild, so I'll be able to spend some time and do that. maybe travel a little bit, and I guess I want to see what some of the golf courses look like around the area in the state. Maybe we can get on them a few times.
There's no doubt. And the championships that have gone along with it, and, you know, a lot of people say, well, yeah, maybe Nichols can win one or a few games here and there, but you showed a lot of people that you could win at Nichols State University, and you brought with it many conference championships and some playoff wins, so I know you're proud of that.
Yeah, and I always said this too. It starts at the top, you know, and we've had good administration that understood what athletics and especially football does to a community and does to a campus. Of course, you know, my best friend is athletic director Jonathan Terrell. Did a great job, but I want to go back in a little bit. And you know, Rob Bernardi was the AD, and when he hired me here. I spoke to him and thanked him for bringing us to Thibodeau. Matt Rohn was the next AD who did a great job. And, you know, of course, JT, that's probably, you know, bittersweet having your best friend as your boss and telling him that you're no longer going to be here. But I told, we had a head coaches meeting today too, Martin, and I told him that I love this place. We love this community. Nichols State University has been so good to us. I owe this place a lot, and it'll continue to be, and this is where we're going to make it our home.
I know one thing, whenever Coach Rebo is announced at Nichols State University at any event, you will be just cloaked with a bunch of clapping and cheers. You've been a great success. You've been a class act, and we want to thank you, and we appreciate what you've done, and good luck in everything you choose in the future, Coach.
Martin, I want to thank you, too, and, you know, HTV has been there from the beginning, and you've been an ally. We go way back to the first stint being around here. We talked about that. And then just, you know, all the media. Everybody's been so good to us because in today's age, you know that it can turn on you pretty quick. But I thank everybody, and I truly respect the job that y'all do.
Well, we respect you, and we thank you for your time. And good luck, Coach, and thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Martin.
All right, Coach Tim Rebo. He won't be back next year, but something tells me he will have a watchful eye on the Nichols program. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
I'm both honored and excited to be the head football coach at Nichols State University. This place is special. It's special because of all the people and players who have poured into it over the years, and it's going to continue to be special. I want to thank Dr. Clune and JT for extending this opportunity to lead. In my time here, they have set an incredible precedent for what leadership looks like on this campus. This is an opportunity that I know comes with a lot of responsibility, and I'm grateful for your belief and trust in me. Coach Rebo, the example that you have set for me as a father, as a coach, and as a leader is invaluable. Everyone would tell you that you've always stood for the right things. You've treated people the right way, and you've built strong relationships with every single person that's been in this program. Your impact on so many throughout your career is immeasurable, and anyone who's ever played for you, coached with you, or been a part of the team that you were on is beyond lucky. Thank you. Ms. Kim, the real coach, thank you for always looking out for the Nichols community. Your kindness and your generosity is unmatched. To the many Nicholls State supporters and alumni, thank you for your support. We've come a long way in 10 years, and every player who's been a part of this program has benefited from you. Okay? Thank you, and we look forward to your continued support, your time, effort, and your overall dedication to this team is invaluable. Faith and family are very important to me, and I want to take this opportunity to introduce my wife, Meredith. I get to do what I love every day because of the sacrifices made by her, and I'm extremely grateful for that. My daughters, Celia and Corinne, are in school right now, but those are my buddies and those are my best friends. My dad, Ray, and my mom, Kathy, couldn't make it here today, but I just want to thank them for getting me involved in sports at an early age and always supporting me in my pursuit of my dreams. My brothers and my sister, Joe, Mike, John, and Libby, thank you for always being my biggest fans. And finally, my in-laws, Patty and Jimmy DiMaggio. They have been my second family since I moved to Louisiana 15 years ago. They're there for me, they're there for Meredith, and I appreciate their support so much. I'm most excited about the work and the challenges that lay ahead. Okay, college football is a changing environment, and we're excited about that change. Our job, like any successful organization, will be to navigate that change and find our edge in this new climate. Coach Rebo has built this program around relationships, and the most important one is with our student athletes. And this program will continue to be about our players first. Every choice, every decision that we make in this program will be about their best interest. With them, without them, none of us would be here. It would be our mission to develop the whole student athlete, the person, the player, and the student. We will teach values like hard work, accountability, perseverance, and self-discipline. Our staff will be strong role models and supporters of them, and our proudest day will be when they earn their college degree. Our goal here will be to play a brand of football that creates a sense of pride for this community and this university, and all the people that are associated with Nicholls State. When you watch us play, you will see unmatched effort, execution, fundamentals, and a never flinch mentality. Our players will be prepared to play. We will build schemes that feature their skills, and we will attack relentlessly in all three phases for all 4 quarters of every game. We will be a team that is tough to prepare for and that people hate to play. We will continue the strong recruiting foundation that Coach Rebo has established in this state, and particularly right here in the Bayou region. We're going to be active in our pursuit of talented football players, but we're also going to be selective, and we're going to prioritize fit. Through scouting, school visits, summer camps, we're going to take ownership in knowing the players of this area. We will utilize all the different avenues of player acquisition, but we're going to build this team with high school players first, and we want to play with players from here. Our first task here will be to stabilize our roster and our coaching staff. We will continue our work to hire an enthusiastic staff of coaches who have integrity and a commitment to our winning plan. Our next task will be going to work on completing our signing class in the next 50 days. Finally, we'll begin working on our off-season program, and it will begin when the players return on January 21st. I can't thank you all enough for this opportunity. We're going to be relentless to put a team on the field and in the community that this university will be proud of.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this Bayou Time Sports Special. I'm Martin False at the Louisiana Superdome. What a great game between E.D. White and Shaw. It was certainly a game back and forth. It's a hard-hitting football game for sure. And I'm going to give you a little stats before we run the segments in the game. And we'll show you the first half, the second half. We'll have a Coach O appearance at the football game, and then, of course, the press conference at the end. By all accounts, we can tell you that certainly the stats, let me give you that tells the tale. Pretty even in a lot of categories, but when we get to the turnovers, we'll show you that made a big difference in the game, and the capitalization of that turnover by the Shaw was the final as they win at 28-25. Total yards, E.D. White had 337 total yards. Shaw had 365. Passing yards, E.D. White 133. That vaunted Shaw passing attack had 111. Rush yards, E.D. White had 204 yards. Shaw had 254 yards. Penalties, E.D. White 5 penalties for 50 yards. Shaw 5 at 47 yards. Pretty even there. First downs, E.D. White 18, Shaw 20. Third downs, 4 for 12 for E.D. White, 6 for 12 for Shaw. Fourth downs, Shaw 0 for 1, E.D. White 3 for 3 in that category. Total plays, E.D. White had 63, Shaw had 58. Once again, fairly even football game. The average yards per play and the average yards gained per play, E.D. White 5.3, Shaw 6.3. Average yards for completion, both at 11.1. That's dead even. Average yards per rush, Shaw had a slight advantage at 6.5, E.D. White at 4.4. And as we go to the red zone, E.D. White 4 for 4 in the red zone, Shaw 1 for 2. Time of possession, E.D. White 5 minutes more. They had 26:08 to Shaw's 21:52. And turnovers, here's the big one. 1 turnover for E.D. White, no turnovers for Shaw. Shaw fumbled the ball 3 times, recovered all 3 of their fumbles. So the ball bounced their way. Sacks, E.D. White had 1 sack. Shaw had no sacks on the day. And certainly this was a even game for most of it. A very key play right before that first half when Shaw hit a deep ball. The receiver going to Michigan, almost dropped it. He bobbled it twice, was able to bring it in. But now, without further ado, let's roll in the first half highlights at the Superdome. E.D. White and Shaw.
Watch here, number 4, the Michigan signee. Pass to the near side, and there he is. He picks up the first down. Second down and a long 10 here, rolling out, looking for somebody to throw to. Wilson slips, loses the ball. I think he got back on it, though. The thing with Shaw, they got multiple weapons. Heaving one deep is Wilson. And it's going to be a pass interference penalty. Another 3rd and long for Shaw. Mason Wilson trying to step up in the pocket, and it's off the hands of Washington. It was there, and if he would have caught it, he would have gone a long way. Tommy Bauer has some offers, and running the football here is Barbera, and he's got the first down to the 22-yard line. Here's the pitch at the last second, and it opens up, and this could go all the way. 1 man to beat, and the ball carrier is dragged down from behind by Rontre Carter. E.D. White is in the red zone fundraising end of the field, and on 1st and goal, they get close to the end zone, but stopped. Let's see if he keeps it. He does on the quarterback sneak, and I don't think he got there.
The old tush push, right?
Oh, they're going to say he's in. This is something that Shaw may want to take a look at. This kid's got a big-time leg, and he puts it right through.
Going to be be interesting to see if they can shake off a couple of those mistakes from the first drive.
And they get more pressure here on Mason Wilson. Wilson able to get something out of it, but there's a flag down in the area where you see holding on the offense. More pressure. And they get to him again. Mason Wilson, just nowhere for him to run. Refuses to go down, but eventually he does. Second down and 6 now at the 39 as the Shaw offense trying to get a little momentum here. They run the option. Where's the pitch? There's the pitch. Jasper Parker into open space all the way to the 46-yard line. At the 34-yard line.
Got to think Jacob Washington here.
Wilson, half roll. There he is. Washington made 2 defenders miss. Makes a 3rd miss. And that's just special stuff right there to the 21-yard line. Here's Wilson now. Wilson to the 10, to the 5. Dives for the end zone. Touchdown, Eagles. Clock. Cardenas on the extra point, and we're all tied up. At the 32-yard line, to pitch at the last second, Ben Guidry. And now it's a foot race. Guidry will run out of steam at the 30-yard line, and there's going to be a late hit tacked onto all that.
With your fullback on that midline veer and that inside veer, right? You've got to be able to respect that as a defense.
On 3rd down and 3 off the left side, it's a first down. All the way to the 1-yard line. 1st and goal, Douglas is the running back. Douglas gets the carry, and Douglas is in the end zone. Touchdown, E.D. White. Ty Powell. That one gets through the uprights. They pick up the blitz. Wilson's got a lot of room to run here. He's got the first down and then knocked out of bounds. Did he get out of bounds? So 3rd down and 6. Wilson, he's got Washington. There he is, first down at the 35-yard line. Wilson, pump fakes, wide open. How do you leave him that open? Touchdown, Eagles. And Cardenas into the nets for the extra point.
All right, as you can tell, 14-14 at the half, and E.D. White was certainly sitting in a good position and going at 14-7, but Shaw made the play. So Coach O was also walking the sidelines, and we caught up with the coach that had the greatest football team of all time at LSU with Joe Burrows and company. And, of course, he's a big Cardinal fan. Let's listen in. I had a little chat with Coach Ed Orgeron.
All right, Coach O's in the house, and he's bringing back memories of his days at South Lafourche championship game, but y'all didn't play in the dome.
No, thank God we played at South Lafourche. The referees are outside.
Yeah, but you sure coached in the dome quite a bit.
Yes, I sure did. But last time I've been in here was the championship, and I want to say I'm so proud of E.D. White and Shaw High School for having a tremendous year. I wish them both the luck. You know, I'm from the Bayou. The Thibodeau people are in my heart. I'm also a good friend with Coach Hank. I know it's going to be a great game.
All right, go get him, Coach.
Let's see you, man.
Seeing y'all at that gun.
What's up, man?
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, second half highlights. It's all coming up right here on a very special edition of Bayou Time Sports.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
And welcome back. As before we go to the second half highlights, just a note to say how heart-wrenching this defeat was for E.D. White. And the stands were rocking. I was very impressed with the amount of people that showed up to cheer on the Cardinals. In my estimation, they had more fans at the game than the Shaw Eagles had at the game. And, of course, Shaw is in the New Orleans area. So kudos to the Edie White fans as they showed out in droves to support the Edie White Cardinals. Let's now go to the second half highlights as we saw them.
Called a long four. Barbera will run it again, and he takes a huge hit at the end of it, but he's got the first down. Jackson Williams, 2nd down and 8. Good run here by Carter Douglas. Bishop Shaw Eagles looking for their first state championship since '87. Barbera going deep, completes it. First down to the 15.
To keep their drive alive.
Cardinals now 3 of 9 on 3rd down. Only a yard gain there. Barbera will throw again. And a sliding grab by Nakan, but he's going to be well short of the first down. And this time it is through the uprights, and Edie White has taken a 3-point lead with 9:22. So that moves the ball out to the 38. And a little seam and a big run for Parker. Parker trying to take it to the house. Touchdown Eagles. 62 yards. And the last 2 playoff games they played in, can they do it again? Pitch here, it's behind the ball carrier. Eagles ball. Huge turnover. Penetration again in the backfield. Barbera's pitch is behind. Let's see if that's where Wilson goes. Here comes Washington crossing. They throw it to him. Did he catch it? Touchdown Eagles! Jacob Washington for the 2nd time today.
Fourth quarter right now. Edie White down by 11. They're on a drive right now. If they can sustain that drive, it may come down to a score and an onside kick, unless there's enough time to put the defense back out there and hope the defense can make a shutdown.
Barbera hits his man on the crossing route. Nakan gets taken down. Pickup of 6. 3rd down and 4. Another quick pass, another first down as the drive continues for the Cardinals. 2nd down and 5. Plenty of time to throw again. He goes deep, and it is caught all the way to the 11-yard line. That secondary has gotten better as the season has gone along. 2nd down and 9. Barbera out into the flat. Another good open field tackle by Alan Shaw. It's 4th and 3. They run it. They go back to their bread and butter, and it's a touchdown. Great drive by the Cardinals to stay alive in this thing.
Of course, Edie White going for 2 here. If they're successful, it makes it a 3-point game, and they have a great kicker.
They pitch it, and then walking into the end zone or hurtling into the end zone. Ben Guidry for 2.
What a 2-point conversion. Guidry around the end on a little reverse. Oh, the tone is set now. We got 3:53 left to go. Edie White down by 3. Edie White has 3 timeouts left.
Too much time's coming off the clock. Parker staying on his feet, and there he goes again. He wants to stay in bounds. He gets knocked out of bounds, but he'll take the yardage.
He went out and got his kids back that were all over the city.
Parker, another huge run, but he stopped just short of the first down. So close.
Kids returning back to the Shaw program. Their enrollment is going back up. A lot of that is because of Hank Tierney and the job that he does and his reputation. Well deserved for that man as well as the whole West Bank community.
For the first time since 1987, the Archbishop Shaw Eagles can call themselves state champions in football.
There you have it, a heartbreaker in the Superdome. Edie White, well-fought game, 2 very good football teams, and they both played their hearts out, 2 good programs, and certainly you hate to see the Edie White Cardinals take that loss today. A lot of class on their side, showed a lot of good sportsmanship, but in the end, it was Shaw that withheld the Edie White last-minute barrage trying to get that game under control. And certainly they were able to run out the clock by making first downs and eliminating Edie White's timeout. So there you have it from the Superdome. And certainly we will now take another break. When we come back, the press conference with Coach Kyle saying what a great job he's done as the Edie White coach, and 3 of his star players. We'll listen in to hear their comments. Don't go away.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough.
Bayou Time Sports is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems Community Sports Institute in conjunction with Barker Honda.
And welcome back as we continue to cover the highlights and also the post game here as Edie White loses 28-25 to the Shaw Eagles. Great football game in the Dome, a hard-fought football game. Edie White left it all out on the field. They gave everything they had in this one, and Shaw just made some big plays when they had to, the bottom line. So certainly the press conference, although you would think it would be very gloomy, I was very proud to see that Coach Lasang and his players held true to their form and showed a lot of class in the press conference. Let's listen in.
It's been 50 years since Shaw Edie White has won a title. Although you're coming up with the second place trophy, how proud are you of your team?
Extremely proud. I said it before, there's a lot of things we do right. And I'll tell you one of them. Somebody sent me a picture last night of a bunch of seniors in adoration for an hour. Our preseason talk, preseason gathering that we have with our players, a lot of people ask me what our goal is this year. And I said this, our goal is to get closer to heaven. And if we can play for a state championship along the way, then all better. These guys are closer to heaven for being part of our program, and so am I.
Coach, over here, I mean, just the state championship getting to this point, and I know y'all played the state championship a couple years ago, wasn't exactly the Superdome, but be in the situation for the senior class to lead the way. How proud are you for been just the foundation that they're going to set for this team the next couple of years?
Well, this group, the senior group, has the most wins in the history of our school. I don't know what the number is. It's probably somewhere around 45, 46 wins over 4 years. And the senior group had the opportunity to play for a state championship when they were freshmen, and now they're seniors and they play for another. Unfortunately, it didn't go our way either time, but you got to be proud of those kids. You know, every single thing I ever asked of them, they came through for me. And sometimes it wasn't pretty. And sometimes we had to have some very, very serious conversations about how we do things and how we operate. And every single time I said, I'm giving you 10 minutes to handle this. And in 10 minutes they did. And that's a great sign for a senior class. And they've done everything they possibly can to set the example for our underclassmen. And shame on our underclassmen if they didn't see it and understand it. And I think that's why it hurts these seniors so much, because they were there at 6 a.m. every day in the summer. They were every day leading our football team. And that hurts a little bit. But one day we're gonna watch the film, and I think we're gonna be proud of a lot of things that happen out there on the Superdome turf.
Question for Grant, quarterback. Just talk about, some things, how this experience was for you coming to the Superdome for the first time as a starting quarterback, your first year as a starting quarterback. What was this experience like, and What's your thoughts on, falling short, but how y'all going to just continue to grow from this?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's our goal at the end of the year to get here. But we didn't finish, but I thought we fought hard, and I thought we had a great year.
Question. Coach, great year this year with your team and everything. I'll tell you one thing, your quarterback, Rivera, has a great future. What you can say, a lot of years you had some very good quarterbacks. What you can say about Rivera right now, just as a junior, because it seems like he has a lot of tools on him.
Coach Rivera in my office last spring, and I told him he was the man. And I knew that because I had seen him. I'd seen him as a 10th grader. He didn't take a whole lot of snaps. But this kid makes great decisions, just great decisions. And you run triple like that, you better make really good decisions. When you throw the football just enough to stay in games, you got to make good decisions. That's really what he does. He's the coolest player I've ever coached. And he never gets rattled for anything. And he's got some good guys around him who keep him grounded. Them hogs up front were good players, man. We don't miss them. We don't miss them. 4 senior starters on the offensive line and 3 defensive starters on the defensive line. And they set the tone for our program. Football is still tackling people and blocking people. And so those guys are important. So we don't miss them, but I'm proud of that effort.
Question. Lee, just talk about the defense. A very tough challenge, especially against the Parker kid. Looked like y'all tried to pull up. Looked like y'all held him in check early, but in the second half, how difficult was it? Just talk about the defensive performance.
The defense has really been good all year. Fly to the football, have an attitude, really do. We got some renegades on the defense, man, and got to have those guys. Kid's going to Michigan for a reason. He's a good player, and he wears you down a little bit. The receiver's a great kid, too, and their quarterback makes things happen. And you got to defend those 3 things. It's tough. It's really tough. And we were in it. We were really in it. So I thought our defensive effort was good enough to win a football game.
Question.
Yeah, it was very hard, but we prepared all week for this and all season. We played a lot of good backs this season, and he was up there. And yeah, best of luck to him next year at Michigan. I hope he does great. But yeah, we put everything we could into this. It didn't work out the way we wanted to, but like Coach said, our goal isn't just to win state championships or try to be the best at football, which it kind of is, but the main goal is to get to heaven and become successful people in life. And I feel that this football program has shown me that. And through these 4 years, they've really done that for us. The stuff that this man right here has taught me, the lessons, I can't explain it with words. It's just so amazing. So yeah, it was very hard, but we were prepared, and we prepared for every game, just like that. And yeah.
Final question.
Coach, for years we've heard Eddie White's graduating 20. They won't be that good next year. Eddie White's graduating 25. They won't be that good next year. But y'all really good year after year. What does that say about the program in your own words?
It's taken me 29 years to figure out how to do this. And I think we finally got it figured out. And the key is the kids. They just buy in. They believe everything we tell them. And sometimes we don't tell them the truth even, and they believe that too. And they just keep walking through the door and playing. So we got some tough kids, man. We got some tough kids that battle and don't really get phased. And I was worried before the game that the Superdome was gonna have an impact on us, and really didn't. We went and played like it was another Friday night until so I'm really proud of the program, but I also want to say this: my coaching staff is second to none. I mean, honestly, these kids will tell you. I walk around practice and just enjoy practice. I don't say a whole lot. I pull a kid on the side every now and then and kind of maybe encourage him and do things like that, but I don't say a lot of X and O stuff. I really don't. I just trust my coaches and let it fly. And it seems to work. So I'm just proud of the program where we are. Martin, you know what kind of program we've had over the years. And that program hopefully is just going to continue to happen year after year.
All right, Coach, I'm going to ask each one of the players very quickly a closing message from the player to the coach.
I mean, Coach Kyle's done everything for me. He's made me a man of God and just made me a better person, you know. I became a better football player from that. So thank you for everything, Coach.
I never played football coming into 8th or 9th grade, and then whenever I knew I'd be able to get the opportunity to play for Coach Lassane, I knew I couldn't pass him up. And I'm just thankful for all the lessons that he's taught me in football and in the real world. And he's a real special man, and I give a lot of praise to him.
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful for this man sitting to the left of me right here. And like I said, the things that he has taught me and the stuff that he's put us through, it's really prepared me for the rest of my life. And these two down here and the rest of our team, just so grateful that I've been able to be coached by this coach right here and all my coaches. They're really great people, and we've worked really hard, and they've installed that in me, and I'm going to carry that into the rest of my life and become a successful person, and hopefully get to heaven with these people and all of you, hopefully. So, yeah, very, very grateful for our entire organization. Yeah.
Coach, you have the final word.
It's been a long journey. Well, it's been a long journey. It's been a journey of 29 years, and every year I sit back and I go, hey, when's it going to end? And 120 kids just keep coming back. And that's all you really need to know about the type of kids that we have in Thibodeau and Eden White. One day we're going to win one of these. I don't know when it's going to be, but I think we're going to win one. And if we just keep getting back here, I think one day we'll carry the trophy out. And but I'm going to walk out of here really, really proud of this effort and these kids. And want to be able to tell them all how special they are. So once again, thanks to everybody. Thanks to these kids. And congratulations to Sean.
Coach, thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, that about wraps it up from the Superdome. I want to thank Dwayne Dupre. I want to thank Jason Serenier. I want to thank Sean Torgrimson. I want to thank the whole crew for helping us get through today. It was hustle bustle for all of the day. I want to thank the Edie White fans for being so hospitable at walk-ons. And certainly that was a good party before. And I know at the end, Edie White takes the loss, but what a great game. The young fellas got to play in the Dome and enjoy the Dome. They'll never forget that. I know they wanted to be state champions, but they put their heart on the field today, and that was evident. And they just came up a little short because, as we know, Shaw has a great football program, but so does Edie White. Edie White's been showing up many years in the state finals, so their program is well established in Thibodeau in Cardinal country.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.